got with me Vodafone today. So let's start with a quick round of introductions. I know that's not your real name.
Right, my name is, real name is Siva Balasuriyar. I'm a qualified accountant. Currently, I'm the CFO of Pairpoint, which is a joint venture with Vodafone, 80% owning and 20% owned by Sumitomo.
Okay.
Recently, I've taken over as the head of Web3. Right. Personally, as I said to you, I'm a chartered accountant, worked mainly in telecom services, working with CTOs as a business partner, finance business partner, which I enjoy, making decisions on cost optimizations and project funding, M&A, and also investors. Yeah.
So you bring that business perspective with the technical background.
Correct. I'm not an expert in technical background, but I know quite a bit to talk about on technical background, especially on telecom side. What I'm trying to do is to learn a bit more about Web3, and one of the reasons for my visit to Brussels today.
And how's the Brussels trip going so far? Have you learned new concepts?
It's absolutely brilliant. I have understood a lot about in the last 2 days. The learning curve has kind of hockey sticked. Yes, I think very nice people. My initial view was that in 5 to 10 years' time, this Web3 is going to take off because of these young people who are quite savvy in what they're doing, and this is going to be your next mobile phones taking off.
Maybe we can leverage your understanding of business and IT. How would you explain what being a node operator is to a 5-year-old?
I am taking care of your jelly bean jars, which your mother ordered for you, to make sure that it is coming in the right condition and right qualities that she wanted it to be. So I'm your friend.
Okay, so if something or someone tries to interfere with the jelly bean jar,
I am there to make sure that it doesn't happen.
Okay, and that supervision, or I guess reassurance,
Correct.
Securing,
Correct.
requires a level of experience and expertise, which is what in this case Vodafone is bringing. If you could have any superpower in the blockchain space, and I guess projecting for the next 10 years, what would you like to do, or which areas do you find the most interesting?
I think, personally, and speaking to people why they are not getting involved in Web3, I think it's security and trust. If I have superpower, I think if I can make the environment secure, I think there will be more people willing to come into Web3 and do what you are doing today.
Just so that I don't copy you, I would say that my superpower would be granting you the superpower to make the space more secure and get rid of all the bad actors. Yeah. Okay, the final one, as we warm up to jump into the technical, from your journey into Web3 and this most recent adventure into Brussels, are there any areas that you found more interesting, maybe something that really stood out that you've learned, or an area that you've earmarked to go and learn more about? Could be anything.
Yeah, no, I think what I realized is there is a lot for my parents, both Sumitomo as well as Vodafone, to make use of some of the applications that I discuss with people at the meetings here. That can be, because telecom is based on transactions. Yeah. Most of the services, I'm not talking about telecom revenue, it's more services that are given to telecom. And there is a lot which is based on transfer for roaming, for example, and billing. And so there are ways and means of cost optimizing as well as being more efficient. So there are two things that you got to think about is customer. How can I make the customer feel happy and wants to stick with us? And the second one is how can I make more profits for the company? And so one is doing the right thing, but economical way, i.e. cost optimization. And then from an efficiency point of view, making the customer happy by 2 clicks or something, the job is done for him or her. So yeah, so that is what, there are a lot of things I would like to take back home and discuss with, because I've tried to organize some meetings so that I can meet up with my former Vodafone colleagues who are quite senior and discuss with them whether we can have some use cases.
It's very interesting because I'm not a telecom expert, so I've never thought about the complexity of the counterparty transactions.
Yeah.
Because in Web3, we started with the most simple use cases. We often think of, removing any middleman, that counterparty risk, having the transparency in the interactions. But this would actually be a really good case study of a large corporation using the blockchain in a way that the user may not even know that it is being used to improve those relationships.
Absolutely. And also this KYC thing, right? Which is a pain in the neck at the moment when you start, trying to prove who you are. If blockchain can work out something that makes this life easy for people, I think, that's another plus point for us.
Let's start getting into a little bit of why the Near Node Enterprise program. Where did that interest come from, and how did the relationship started?
Yeah, so I think let me first say how did it come about, because you have created this enterprise program. We want to get into the Web3 world to feel the water and see what is there. That can not just it's not just going to be about validations. We also want to kind of, as I mentioned to you, get into more use cases and applications that not only what we can bring to you, to the party, but also how we can help out our parents. So it's a nice little marriage made in heavens, because you want us and we want you. How did we get around you? I think we were kind of introduced to by one of our people into meeting up with you and getting this.
Nice. I'm sure that the official documentation has a different wording for it, but some may say that validation is a gateway drug.
Well, I think it is mainly a gateway, right? So I think if you ask me, what is your future plan? I think my current plan is exactly what you said. That is my gateway into the Web3 validation. And then the second step, which we want to take, well, most probably very quickly as possible, is how can I bring, let's be very honest about it, Vodafone and Sumitomo has got a massive footprint, right? And we should utilize that footprint as much as possible. So I would like to go back into my parents and say, look, here is the opportunity, find some use cases with them, and then use those use cases either through my own software engineers who work with us, or through others who are already in your ecosystem.
Yeah, you mentioned match made in heaven.
Yeah.
Traditionally, the barrier for corporates to get involved is that the infrastructure was not robust enough.
Correct.
And paradoxically, now that we have robust infrastructure on a modern blockchain like Near, now we also need those enterprise operators to keep the infrastructure going.
I think my ideal plan would be, of my future steps would be, currently we are doing this validation nodes, as you said, gateway. Secondly, what I would like to do is to look at Near's ecosystem and see whether it will help both our parents as well as my Pairpoint organization, because we are a software company after all. So that will be my second step, and then looking at applications and use cases so that we can expand further on this. And there are a few other things that I've thought about, which I'll have to kind of develop it a bit more before we kind of go into it. I think one of the things is behaving like a investment bank, looking at within our parents' footprint, whether we are able to collect all their digital assets and manage it for them, like an investment bank would do, and then take a commission out of that. Wow. So rather than you keep crypto in your pockets, you can give it to me, I'll manage it, and I'll give you interest back to you.
Sounds like a deal. Let's just hand it over. One of the things that makes Web3 different, and I'm really curious to see how you perceive it from a traditional corporate background, is the openness in working. There are less large projects and more, and just like a lot of different projects working together. You know, it's open source, composable. Yeah. So I don't know if you've thought about that, but if people discover you through the interview and they think, I want to contact the guy with the sunglasses, we've got some ideas that could benefit his company, the parent's company, could be something in the industry. Are there any channels at the moment that could be open for people to reach out, or where are these conversations happening between Web3 and corporates that are open for business?
I think the channel is going to be myself, so you're more than welcome to publish my email. Or I'm also on Telegram, a bigger Telegraph. I was asked to join Telegraph because that seems to be your favorite way of communicating. So yeah, I'm more than happy because I think, look, end of the day, I would like to look at all options. I'm new to this game. We would like to look at everything that is possible. We don't want to say no to anything. But obviously we'll vet it as you know, Vodafone and Sumitomo are reputable companies, and I have to, make sure their brand name is not tarnished. So that point of view, we will obviously check you out, but there is nothing to, we're not going to say no to anybody. As I said, I'm a startup. I want to just to make sure that every opportunity is fully explored before we reject anything. So yeah, please contact me. Happy to, discuss. And I got a team behind me. Not from a technical point of view, and we should be able to kind of discuss with them and understand whether this is something that we want to take on.
Fantastic. I think it's a really good balance between not saying no to anyone, but also having higher standards because you have the experience from the business world.
Yeah.
So it's not being...
There is no way I'm going to put my parents into a problem. So,
that's it.
Because they have a massive organization with their biggest strength is their brand. So the last thing I want to do is to tarnish that.
Oh, even I'm worried about my organization, and we're 3 people, so I know what you mean very well. Well, as you can probably tell, at Metapool and the Near ecosystem, we love hosting these conversations. We're really trying to do a lot of work to increase the awareness and the good work that people are doing. We're bringing the corporates in, and we're also dealing with the grassroots level. We're sponsoring hackathons. We're going to spend all the weekend with, just people tinkering with things. So yeah, I just want to thank you for having this conversation. Let's treat it as the beginning of an ongoing dialogue, and maybe touch base in a few months to see if anyone's reached out, new opportunities, new lessons, and see what the next drug in our journey is.
Absolutely. Thank you for inviting me for this conversation.